So while my car is heating up, I kind of want to talk about mental health and specifically the misunderstandings about it. Um, the general thing that I seem to see is this misunderstanding of what the names of mental health actually mean, how we label them, essentially. When you have a physical health problem, there are two different kinds of labels we give. There's the general principle that you need to understand here is cause and effect, basically. If you have strep throat, what that means is that you have some, I think, bacteria that is causing the symptoms that you're experiencing. So you have strep throat, which means you have a sore throat, a cough, and some other things. However, the name sore throat, this label that we give, is a name of a collection of symptoms, or I guess at least one symptom. And what that name is a name we are giving to the effect. That sore throat can be caused by a number of different things. It can be any large number of things. You could have inhaled something that irritated your throat. It could be strep throat. It could be some other bacteria. It could be any number of things. And for some reason, when it comes to mental health, I don't know all the reasons. I couldn't, confidently say any specific reason. There's a lot of them, potentially. But when it comes to mental health, for whatever reason, the idea always seems to be that the labels we give are always the cause and not the effect. When in reality, almost every mental illness that we have, or mental disorder, I'm just speaking general neurodivergent things that we give labels to for the purpose of healthcare. The truth of the matter is that really all they are, and all we test for with psychological evaluations for them, is the collection of symptoms. Because for most things, the brain's a weird thing. There's a number of different causes for different mental illnesses. For example, with autism, because autism was the main thing I was thinking about. There are some biological factors that people know about that can potentially influence it. However, it's pretty established that there is no one specific cause for autism. For ADHD, it's said that there's a dopamine deficit in the brain, but people can elicit the exact same symptoms for different reasons. I often hear that, phones are giving kids ADHD, from a lot of, conspiracy heads. But what I don't seem to understand is that they treat these causes, like growing up and getting your brain kind of fucked up by too much dopamine intake. They treat that as if it's like a fake ADHD. Even if that is how that happens, that qualifies as ADHD, which is why we don't have one treatment for ADHD or one treatment for a sore throat. We have medications, we have cognitive behavioral therapy, we have any number of things, and the point of healthcare is to identify, healthcare in terms of mental illnesses, is to identify the common collection of symptoms and find a treatment plan that works. Again, going back to conspiracy heads, they believe that you try to hook you on drugs and keep you there for life, but for some people, with that, people who potentially have ADHD due to shit like that, or maybe even just childhood trauma, because there are some things like complex PTSD, I think is the name for it, that can arise in similar symptoms. And if these people try medication and it doesn't work, the symptoms hurt them and it doesn't really do anything, then they stop doing it. And cognitive behavioral therapy might work, or it might have damaged their brain in such a way, or changed their brain chemistry in such a way, that it actually has the same biological cause, a dopamine deficit, that is then helped by medication. And my question is, for the people who see ADHD and autism as exclusively the biological cause, if it's not due to the biological cause or one of them, then it isn't the real one. What do you do about the people who have it for other reasons? How do you even determine that people have it for other reasons? It just feels like a way to cast doubt on anyone. And it's not just conspiracy heads. A lot of times people who have these mental illnesses or mental disorders, they are almost elitist about it. Maybe because they take it as a point of pride. Like, I understand that it's a way that makes your brain fundamentally different from most people, and that can make you feel special, and I would say a good coping mechanism is to take pride in such a thing. Maybe good, maybe neutral. It has its downsides. But one result of that is that I see a lot of people who have them that say these people that have a different cause, they're not one of us. And that's so pointless. The point of labeling these mental illnesses is not for fun. We label them and group them together for the purpose of assistance, of healthcare. That's why the DSM-5, for example, has like a bunch of weird, niche, and even stupid sounding ones, because it's like a phone addiction or technology addiction. Because what they're just trying to do is identify the problem. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would determine each specific tiny aspect of someone's brain and decide from there, with our perfect understanding of the brain, exactly what treatment plan works for them. But that's not how it works. We are giving these names to the effects and not the causes because we don't understand that much. We wouldn't have names for these mental illnesses and mental disorders and all of this if we understood the brain perfectly. What grouping these people together under a common collection of symptoms does, first off, it creates a sort of bargaining power. Like, if you approach politicians or a government and say, hey, we want money for just all mental health, it sounds too vague to convince them. But if you can group together a bunch of people who say have autism or have ADHD, you can create advocacy groups and raise money for it and connect people. There are communities online and in real life of people who have these different mental disorders that help each other out on day-to-day life things. They say, hey, this stuff works for me. This stuff doesn't work for me. This stuff can cause a lot of problems. Or they help each other out. They connect, and it gives them a true place where they feel that they belong. Because it can be a very isolating thing, feeling very different from other people. And so when you try to boil down this label that we give as like an elite club, you're ruining the entire purpose of it and fundamentally misunderstanding why we even have it in the first place. In a perfect world, these labels would not exist, but this is not a perfect world. And we need to start treating it like a health problem or a health situation that gets treated rather than some weird, vague, magical idea and label that we swirl around a flask after getting someone's DNA sample and it turns blue and this person has autism. Oh, they have autism. That's not how it works. We're all just trying to live our lives. And these groupings, like any other sort of grouping, help people. And it's there because we are all limited and we're all trying to help each other. So if you're kind of like this, if you think that these are fake illnesses or that people who have different causes for them that aren't directly biological are not really mentally ill, I just need to ask you, like, why do you think that way? Or at least just reflect to yourself why you think that way, because personally, I don't understand it. Anyways, my car is now defrosted, so have a good day.